welcome back to another episode of DigiTalk Architects. Today with us we have Eyan. Eyan, welcome to the show. Please go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So yes, my name is Eyan Emanuel. I'm the founder and CEO of the automotive startup called Exodus. And essentially what we do is transform the automotive industry by one, connecting domestic suppliers within the US to legacy automakers and legacy OEMs. And we have also created a brand new proprietary powertrain and vehicle architecture to help usher in the next generation of automotive efficiency and automotive excellence.
Very good. All right. Well, you've had quite the interesting journey, right? You went from just being a car enthusiast from like when you were really young to now founding your own company, Exodus. What sparked your passion for integrating the innovation that your company is doing for the automotive industry, as well as performance, sustainability? Tell us how that worked out for you.
For sure. I've ever since I was a little kid, I absolutely loved cars. And of course, at that young age, I wasn't thinking like, oh, like I want to build the next big thing. At that time, I was just completely mesmerized by the idea that there's this machine that can move you from point A to point B. And quickly, I was able to kind of like understand why, the different components move and things like that. And then that led me to my big aha moment. Coming from where I come from, the inner city of Philadelphia, I knew that I wanted to do something that was memorable. I wanted to do something that could also like change the world. And I love cars. So I knew probably around like 10 years old that I wanted to change the world from within the automotive industry. And that's kind of what led me to where I'm at now.
Awesome.
I hope that helps. Yeah.
At what point did you realize that your startup could become, sort of like this big company that could revolutionize the Rust Belt manufacturing? How did that come to be?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I have really bad imposter syndrome. So it comes in stages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was reminded of that this past weekend or last weekend when, like I think I told you right before we started, I accidentally joined a hackathon and I just was just there working and learning. And it was in my opportunity to like present to a bunch of VCs and pitch to a bunch of board members of different companies like at Google, Microsoft, Apple. Honestly, the list goes on. I just, presented who I am, what I've done, what my team is doing. And they were like, okay, no, this is insane. You're like, this will change the world. So like that was probably the most recent. And I think
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, maybe 6 months ago, I was in not even 6 months ago, I was maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I was in a meeting with my engineers and I was like, hey guys, like who's our like closest competitor? Like who is producing a product, whether it be a powertrain or vehicle architecture that like most closely rivals us? And they were like, never in the history has there ever been a product built like this. And I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. So we then found out that our closest competitor in terms of like this space was like Bugatti. And like that's insane
Wow.
because Bugattis are like $4 or $5 million. They
Yeah.
have V16s, well now W16s. Oh no, sorry, the other way. They had W16s, now they have V16s. And I was like, okay, so our closest competitor engineering wise is Bugatti. Nice. So in that case, we don't have any competitors within like our own segment. So that kind of gave
Right.
me the ability to just kind of like take a deep breath and just work forward from there.
Okay. Wow. So you just decided to register for a hackathon for entertainment?
Yeah. So I was honestly, I'll tell you the truth. So I was on TikTok one day, like, doom scrolling as Gen Z does. And I was really
Mm-hmm.
stressed out from meetings. So I was just like looking at car videos on TikTok, surprise, surprise. And there was this thing that said like, hey, download Luma because there's like a bunch of events in your area. I said, okay, like it was an ad. So I was like, whatever, like I don't have anything else to do. So I downloaded the app. And then right then and there, it said, like I got an invite from someone else. Like I forgot I had a Luma account. So then I got an
Mm-hmm.
invite where I saw that I had an invite. And this invite was for an event that was the next day. So I was like, okay, like let me accept. So I accepted it. And the next day I go and it was like a full weekend ordeal. And I met a bunch of brilliant people. And at the end of the thing at demo day, first of all, I didn't even think I was going to be pitching. I didn't think I was going to be pitching. I didn't think I was going to be presenting, nothing. So I found out on the last day that I was going to be presenting. So they had me create a last second pitch deck of what it is that we do. And I had to pitch it to 200 VCs and I'm sorry, 200 members and a bunch of VCs. And I was the last person to go. And like I got a standing ovation from the venture capitalists. They were like, "This is the best pitch deck we've ever seen. This is the best pitch we've ever heard. How much money do you want?" So right now we're going through like our due diligence process of,
Mm-hmm.
Lord willing, getting an investment.
That's amazing. But that shows, right? Like how, because part of what, the reason why I thought you would be a really good person to come and share with us here is because you basically bootstrapped your whole startup, right?
Yeah.
You have no investors up until now. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's going to change, but up until now, everything you're talking about, you've bootstrapped. You have a
Yes.
team, but everybody's kind of being very graceful about the time that they've spent in the project and all those things. So tell us about what it's like two things: what it's like to bootstrap a startup like yours. I know you have a lot of things to share, but let's talk about what it's been like, that process for you.
Okay.
And let's talk a little bit more about that imposter syndrome, because I think we can agree most entrepreneurs suffer imposter syndrome at one point or the other. Oh, heck, we all have. I have. So share that with us.
For sure. So I'll start with the bootstrapping piece. So as I said before, I had the idea of doing what I'm doing at a really young age. And so it really just felt like a task always. Like not a task, but like just something I had to get done. So it wasn't until my last year of college when I was like, okay, I have these degrees, or I'm about to get these degrees, but like this isn't my passion. Like let's like move forward with what we want to do. And like I said, I come from the inner city of Philadelphia. There is not a lot of money running around, especially within my upbringing. So I was just like, all right, I got to get it done, right? I can't let a lack of capital prevent me from getting it done. So I
Mm-hmm.
started my journey by just knocking on doors, literally all over the state of Pennsylvania. Actually, now all over the East Coast and the Midwest, I have knocked on doors and just like pitched myself, introduced who I am, the idea of the company, and also like try to find out what exactly consumers want. Because why start something if there's not even a market for it, right? So
Right.
once I had a better understanding of what consumers wanted, the direction that the market was going in, and my own abilities, I then began to build, right? Just build, build, build. And at this point, like I'm still in college as well, so we're coming in on the end of my college career, and I was like,
And
okay,
just
I
to
got to use this.
clarify, you're talking college. What did you do in college? Like, what did you pick
Yeah,
for your profession? Because it
politics.
wasn't cars.
No,
I knew that, but I wanted to make sure people knew that, right? Like, it was not, any kind of engineering or car related career path.
no, not at
You
all.
went politics and then in cars.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
But
I went to Penn State and I got in for engineering, but then I switched to politics. And that's a whole story within itself.
do you regret
But
it?
yes, absolutely not. I don't regret it. I wish I studied business. So, and that's kind of like what helped me get to where I'm at today because within this bootstrapping process, there was a whole lot of learning, obviously, right? You have to learn. I've never built a company before. I've never hired people. I've never built something brand new before. So
Mm-hmm.
I randomly took a master's level business class at Penn State, which I don't know how I pulled that off. I just had a professor. I got a warm introduction to this professor. Her name is Dr. Jeanette Miller. She is absolutely amazing. Love her. I'm truly inspired by her. And she really taught me the ropes as to how to start a business, how to run a business, and the different pitfalls to avoid. And that's what helped me. That's how I also learned the term bootstrapping. So she
Tell me,
taught me how to
what were
bootstrap.
the, when you were learning this, the pitfalls, what were they? Just out of
Some
curiosity. Let's share that.
Perfect. So some of the pitfalls that she shared with me is burnout. That was one of the big ones. A lot of entrepreneurs overlook that idea. When you are absolutely consumed by your passion or whatever is in front of you, you can very easily have burnout. And next thing you know, you don't want to do the work anymore. You don't want to do the project. You are no longer inspired. Another thing that she told me was not raising capital. She told me another big pitfall that people have within their startup journey is that founders try to raise capital too soon and they don't really have anything to leverage. So now they're giving up a lot of their equity within their business, but they don't have any kind of promising product yet that can actually have traction. So she
Okay.
told me slow down from raising capital. So again, another reason why I bootstrapped for a year and a half.
Right.
And so now, current day, we have the product. We are in the middle of getting now 8 patents for the engine and the powertrain. And we haven't raised a single dollar yet. So now we have all of the leverage when we meet with investors because not only do we have a product, not only are we in the prototyping stage, but we also have the intellectual property to support all of our work. So now we can raise capital and it doesn't have to go towards intellectual property because IP is really expensive, really, really expensive.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Very good. All right. So, um, tell me, we talk a lot about AI. You and I already talked a bunch about it.
Mhm.
Tell me, how are you guys using AI to think on your product development, the supply chain management that you guys are doing in, obviously customer engagement, right? Because you can't
Yeah.
bootstrap and not, do a bunch of things to make that more efficiently, right?
Absolutely. So I have used AI to do everything that you could possibly imagine in this process. Like I've leveraged my AI usage to the degree. So one of the biggest areas that we utilize AI in is really like what I like to call, and I'm going to make this up on the spot, but hacking. So didn't really make that up, but hacking within this space, I have used AI to really have a better understanding at how to create a wedge and identify what the wedge is that we're going into. For our listeners, a wedge in this context is just your room, like your space and window of opportunity to come into the market. So use AI to understand why the problem exists, how we can solve the problem, and how we can have seamless integration from point A to point B. And then, like I said, now fast forward a little bit. I said I just joined a hackathon last week by accident. I learned this phrase called vibe coding. And vibe coding is
Yes.
when you have AI essentially code for you, and
Yep.
then you go in and fix whatever you need to fix. I'm not a coder, but what I did do was have AI vibe code for me, and that is what helped us build our pilot for the B2B digital marketplace that runs our supply chain and logistics. So now I have a team of not computer scientists, coders that are
Agents.
going in. Yeah. Well, no, now I have like actual people like coming in and like building a brand new code base for the product. But to get
Okay.
there, I had to vibe code. So
Vibe coded.
AI has helped us there. Yeah. And with marketing, AI has helped us a lot with marketing in the sense that it showed us directly who to target, when to target
Yeah.
them, and how to do so. So it just took all of that unnecessary research off my table, and it just allowed me to just get right in there and find who
Tell
to talk to.
us a little bit about that process. So when you decided to use AI to help you with that marketing research, how did you go about it? Like, what was your process like?
Yeah, I think it all started with prompt engineering. So like one,
Mm-hmm.
I had to obviously like you have to know to get anything done and to get AI to work at its full potential, you have to know how to speak to it. And I really just found a way to, and this is where my politics degree came in. I just knew how to speak. I knew how to talk and I knew what I wanted it to do, but I also knew how to ask questions. Like I'm really big on asking questions and finding the
Mm-hmm.
best way to get to my end result. So I literally just would I became an expert at prompt engineering that then allowed me to have AI literally find literally find all of the rail hubs. For example, like I needed to find all of the industrial hubs with that had direct access to train routes and suppliers to be able to meet at these points. So I just literally was like, hey, find me X, Y, and Z. I want things to be done within this time. I need the products to be able to be delivered in this time frame. I need to be able to measure CO2 emissions. I need to be able to have direct contact with suppliers from point A to point B. And I need to have a predictive analysis element in there as well. And I just like detailed all of that. So all of these details come in like long documents. Like I essentially typed up a 5-page document. Then I just inputted that document into my chat box and had AI create the whole
So you're
platform.
giving the AI a full document with all your instructions.
Yeah. Like you have to be very, very explicit in what it is that you want. The more you say, the better it is. Because
The
it, it,
results,
it
yeah.
takes
But
out, yeah,
what I
yeah,
keep saying is whatever what you put in, you get out of it, right? If your input
yes,
is short and generic, what you're gonna get in the output, it's generic. But if your
absolutely.
input is detailed in, I don't want to say long because it depends on what you're doing, but
Yeah,
detailed in the context of what you want, and your output and results from it would be a whole lot better.
absolutely. Yeah, you have to be very specific.
Right. Okay, so you create these documents outside of the chatbot, right? So
Yeah.
like a Google Doc, and then you just feed that in, and then
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
what? And also,
So
which one
once,
is your favorite tool?
so I've played around with a few different ones. I've used Chat GPT, I've used Gemini, Claude. So you just have just play around, and it's all in your ability to. And I've used some that like my friends have developed. So I now like I have some friends who literally built AI assistants. So like I've
Mm-hmm.
just practiced on theirs as well. And yeah, I don't necessarily have a favorite right now. I think my favorite one isn't released yet, and it's one that one of my friends is developing, and I just met him at the hackathon last week. But
Nice.
it outperforms ChatGPT by miles, and it's insane to even say that. It doesn't think linearly, and he like uses something with like the Fibonacci code or something. Don't get me to
Yeah.
lie, because I don't even understand the whole process. But all I know is that it's absolutely insane. It's very fast, it's very efficient, and it hasn't given a wrong answer yet. So
Wow. It's
yeah,
not hallucinating.
no, it's not. He studies neuroscience, so like he found out why current AI is not working to its full potential, and he essentially just created a solution to that. Like he just found out what was wrong with it, and now he has like people at OpenAI like trying to like work with him. He's like, nah, like I don't want to work there. Like I'm building this. So he's just literally
I want
shrugging
my
off
own
like
thing. He's
literally like he's
bootstrapping it
shrugging
too.
off the yes. So it's absolutely insane. Like he's shout out to him. He knows who he is. Shout out to you, bro. It's you're doing amazing.
Hey, maybe we can have him come and be a guest for us here too.
Absolutely. I'll definitely let him know.
Okay, here, you know that we are always thinking on, leadership and marketing, obviously, is what we do. You
Yeah.
talked about, when we talked about bootstrapping, and you've been the driving force on the marketing side of your company, making connections.
Yes.
I know, you've told me that you rely heavily on making connections on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Tell us how you're building strategic partnerships, while doing the storytelling for Exodus in, these all these digital channels, right? Because we have LinkedIn, obviously, is heavy B2B, but also, the whole social media. And you're doing a lot
For
of it
sure.
yourself, right? I think all
Yes.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, just about. I have some people like working with me like within our marketing team now, which is a brand new team. But I'm telling you before, I rely heavily on word of mouth. So I leverage my LinkedIn to have people that are like really high up in the industry have an understanding of who I am. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to even have the opportunity to do that by my ability to kind of just be at the right place at the right time. Like I have two board members now on with the company who never in a million years would I have expected my ability to get two people who have managed over $4 billion in assets, led several IPOs, over 20 years of experience with NASA, NavAir, successful uh, exits themselves within their own startups. Never in a million years, I think I'd have them like come onto my team. And so having the opportunity to have them has allowed me access to their networks. So their networks are they're like cream of the crop individuals, the heads of Formula One teams, the heads of research and development teams for like Mercedes, BMW, Nissan, Porsche, the list goes on, Aston Martin. And what I've now that people see that I'm directly connected to my two board members, and they also see like what we're able to post on LinkedIn, my board members are also saying like, hey, this guy Ian, he's building like this crazy thing. So that gets my name in rooms. Then we have people like reaching out to us. So like I'm connected with the CEO at Mercedes Benz, the CEO at Aston Martin, the CEO, a bunch of like different execs at Koenigsegg with F1, and this all happened like word of mouth. Like we use LinkedIn a little bit to say, hey world, this is what we're doing, and then we strategically put ourselves in rooms that have people ask questions. So like the hackathon, that hackathon
Mm-hmm.
was not for people in my field. Like that was the other crazy part. That hackathon was for tech. I'm not in tech. Like I'm in manufacturing, automotive manufacturing, and I was able
But
to
also
win
tech.
because, well, yeah, tech. They call it deep tech. But, like this was
Deep tech.
specifically for
Okay.
like, yeah, this was for like AI and blockchain and things like that,
Okay.
which that's not us.
No.
But we were able to win because we had a compelling story, we had traction, and we had a product that was able to leverage all of the soft tech, so the AI, into our business model. So we were just able to show like the transition from, hey, there's a lot of tech companies today. Don't forget about the fact that we actually need to build something, and here's how Exodus does that. So that's that.
So you,
So
you
back to the
build that
marketing
that
piece.
that technology into what you already had in your
Yes,
product.
exactly. Yes.
That's cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
So that helps with marketing as well.
well, of course, making connections, right?
Yep.
On and offline, in person
Yes,
and remotely. Do you do a lot of in
absolutely. Heavy on the
person?
in person. I'm starting to. So uh, I just got invited to another event. It's kind of like a hackathon, but not really. Like this is just like a meet and greet with a bunch of VCs, and I got
Mm-hmm.
invited to that. That's on Wednesday, so that'll be like one of our next big, or one of my next big opportunities to like be in person with some influential people. I have been invited to do like some guest speaking at different universities. I've spoken at my alma mater, Penn State. I'm speaking at Drexel. I actually just got a second email right before I joined this about guest speaking at Drexel, and I'm going to be speaking at University of Michigan. So these are just like a bunch of like different opportunities for me to like get out there. But also, I have been invited to a boat show to speak, and that's in February. So I'm going to be out there, like just talking about the company, talking about what we're doing, and I believe that's the best way to get your name out there. I don't believe in ads and I don't believe in commercials. I was taught by that professor I told you about, anything that has a commercial is not something you should be buying. And so yeah, I kind of like I've adopted that mentality. I don't want to put out an ad about Exodus. I want people to learn about Exodus organically.
Okay. So do you post a lot of content aside from LinkedIn and the connections you've made through
Uh,
LinkedIn? Do you post a lot of content online about Exodus and what you're doing?
no, no. That's another big reason. Like a lot of my friends, up until recently, didn't know that I had a company. They didn't know that, and they didn't know that it was reaching this point either. They were like, they just always heard me say like, "Oh, I'm busy." Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I'm really busy." They also didn't know I was in grad school. um, they tease me for being like they call me like a secret squirrel. Like and like
Mr. Private.
yeah, and they're like, "How are we your best friends and we don't know about this?" And I was like, "Well, y'all didn't ask. Like, if you ask me, hey, what are you doing? Like, I'll tell you." and and I also like believe in like the big aha moment. So just showing like,
Yeah.
boom, here's what we've done. And I love to under promise and over deliver. And that's another big thing that has helped us get to this point. I just when I was speaking to investors in the past or potential investors in the past, and when I was speaking with like different mentors, I would I would say like, oh, like yeah, like we're thinking about, you have to be very like vague with some of your language. Like, oh yeah, like we're thinking about building a new engine, or we're thinking about finding a way to like increase fuel efficiency, things like that. So it's like, yeah, we did think about doing that. No one thought that we were going to build a brand new engine like that has never been seen before. So that's an example of us under promising and over delivering. No one thought that we were going to build an entirely new vehicle architecture. They just thought we were going to build something that would work in what we already have today. So under promising, over delivering.
Okay. So the hackathon, we keep going back to that one because it's a good story. You
Thank
just
you.
randomly registered and then boom, you won it.
Yeah,
But
it was.
in in the spirit of these, let's dive a little bit into, because you have a team, right?
Yeah, I
So
have a
you're
team.
not just the only one leveraging AI and, doing all of these things. Tell us a little bit about your team, how you've grown that team, and how they are helping you grow your company, and also how they are using AI, to grow this thing that's apparently becoming pretty big.
So yeah, my team, let me just start by saying I would not be where I'm at without my team. They are truly some of the greatest people. They've taught me so much, and I dare I say they've taught me more than I could ever teach them. And so in terms of like AI, they are really leveraging it in the same capacity that I'm doing it, but kind of in like an R&D kind of way. So they're finding a way to get AI to give examples and kind of like examples and like wedges into breakthroughs for how the next generation of whatever it is that we're building can be impactful. So we really use AI to better understand what we already know, and then they also use AI to have an idea as to where things are going that we don't know. So I don't know if that really makes sense, but essentially they're just asking a lot of questions and using the information that they already have to then not only work now, but future proof things for when we get there. Or future proof things now so that once we get there, we'll be ready to go. And I was able to build this team really through networking. So again, knocking on doors. When I was in college, I would take classes that weren't my classes. Like I would sit in the neuro classes. I would sit in orgo classes, like organic chemistry classes. I would sit in other business classes that weren't mine. And I would sit in marketing
Just
classes, art
randomly?
classes. Yeah, just randomly. I would just go to like, if I didn't have class, I was going to something like someone else's class. And I was just learning so much, and I was meeting new people and building genuine relationships. And in doing so, I had people be like, "Hey, like we like you. We'll work with you." So that's really just kind of how we got here. Like I just, I was, I was just like a nice guy, I guess. And they were like, "Hey, like we want to support you." From my engineers to my marketing team to my ESG to my board. Like I literally met one of my board members by an accident. He's a venture capitalist. He just happened to be at my school one day, and I happened to be walking. I got invited to a business dinner 45 minutes before the dinner started, or an hour 45 minutes before the dinner
Nice.
started. So thank you. So I walked into the office. This guy's just sitting there with his dog and his mom. Rest in peace to his mom. She did recently pass. And I introduced myself, and well, he introduced himself. I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. And at the time, I'm still close with him, but I was close with the dean of the business school at Penn State. And he was like, Ian, this is so and so, so and so, this is Ian. And really, from there, we've hit the road running, and I'm gonna hit the ground running. And now he's on my board, and now he works for me, and now he stresses me out, and I stress him out, and we have been able to grow this business together, and the business is still really small. Like we are nowhere near where I want us to be. We're also nowhere near where we one day will be, but we are miles ahead of where we were just 6 months ago as well. So we are growing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you have a board
Yes.
and you have a team. What's that team like? Do you have any co-founders? What's the dynamic like?
Yeah. So the dynamic is, well, one, no, I don't have any co-founders, and my life would probably be a lot easier if I did. But the dynamic,
We all say that.
yeah,
I'm right there with you.
the dynamic is very familial though. So I'm really big on making sure we're all on the same page, right? One, have them understand we're not chasing paper, like we're not chasing money. And I made sure that my team understood that. Like, yes, we are a business. Yes, businesses want to make money, but we are not chasing money. We're chasing purpose. Like, why are we doing this? Because if we're doing this for money, then we might as well pack up shop and stop. We're doing this because we want to see the next generation of something. We want to build the next thing that will help people, not just make money. And it was really hard initially, like getting people on board with that, because a lot of people, they want to make money. Like they join business to make money. They work long hours for the hope of making money. Makes sense. I'm the
Yeah.
delusional one. But I needed, because I'm the delusional one, I needed more delusional people to come on board. So I found them. So they came on board. We are working with them. Well, we're all working together. We take from one another. We learn so much. And as a leader, they've taught me, I've learned how to become a better leader from having a team. And
Of
primarily
course.
because my mom taught me at a really young age, a leader doesn't just tell people what to do. A leader also doesn't just delegate. Like, a leader needs to be having their sleeves rolled up and be on the front lines with everybody else. Like, lead the way. But a leader also needs to
Uh-huh.
know their strengths and their weaknesses. So I'm not the kind of guy who's going to say, like, oh, I'm the boss, I'm the CEO, you have to do what I say. Absolutely not. If you have a better way of thinking through this problem, teach me, like educate me so that I can understand it, and that so we can then leverage that. And you get the kudos for that. Like, you get the props. Like, I've given the members of my team the credit for so many things that we've been able to accomplish together. And that's really important
Mm-hmm.
because one drives up the culture. One, you have culture, and you have people who subscribe to what you're doing and want to be a part of that because they understand, like, hey, Ian cares about me. My boss cares about me. I can talk to my boss about what's happening in my private life, and I also can talk to my boss about things I'm struggling with within the company. And on top of that, I heard this quote. I was watching YouTube one day to on leadership actually, and this guy was saying that you can tell the culture of a company by the laughter that you hear. If you don't hear any laughter within the office, probably won't be in business
There
for
is
long.
no, yeah,
Yeah, and
I agree with you on that one.
yes,
I happen to think the same way.
yeah,
So,
like my team and I, we laugh all the time. It allows us to get our work done as well. Like, we can have a good time and be efficient. And like my COO, or I call him my COO. He's really just my head of ops, but he's also like one of my best friends. And he and I will, like, if we have a stressful day of just like calls and forecasting and meeting with lawyers and all that, we will to go down to like his apartment where they have like a pool table, and we'll just play pool for a couple hours. We'll do ping pong. We'll like watch TV. We'll like work through whatever we need to work through. But and it doesn't feel like a boss and his employee. It feels like two guys
mm-hmm.
hanging out, like
Two
just
friends.
yeah, just two
Yeah.
friends, and that helps us so much. Just being, and I'm the same way with my engineers. Like, even though some of them aren't even in this country, I have like an open door policy. Like, hey, like if you need anything, if you want to reach out, if like there's no work hours for me, just shoot me an email, call me, text me, whatever you need, and like we can talk about anything and everything. So that helps build a better
How
culture.
big is your team, anyways?
I have it now. We have 12 people because we just got two new people from the hackathon that we accidentally won. And they are, they're going, those two new people are within like, we're kind of calling it like our cybersecurity department, because they're building, well, cybersecurity and finding ways to create a technical moat within our vehicle architecture. So we have them working. Now we have our team of engineers, our marketers, our marketing, the board, and corporate strategy.
So 12 people, including the board? Or
Oh,
that's the team working on?
yeah, 12 people outside of the board. So with the board, it'd be 14.
Okay.
So
Okay.
trying to keep it small.
So, still, yeah, by growing, small by
Yeah,
growing.
yeah, absolutely. It's
So,
fun.
in a company where you're, you know, engineering the future,
Mhm.
and obviously using a lot of technology, how do you balance technology with human-centered values?
Yes.
Things like sustainability, economic growth, the impact
Hmm.
of all of that to obviously humans in society.
Absolutely. That's actually a really great question. And that's one that we take a lot of pride in. We have ESG, so environmental social governance, and we have a team. Well, not a team. It's one guy, but he handles all of that, and it's kind of like making sure our outside culture matches with what we're doing inside, especially within the context of technology and AI and things of that nature. Like I said before, our end goal is to revitalize the Rust Belt, increase American manufacturing, bring jobs back to the U.S., and give people an opportunity to scale in a bunch of different areas. And obviously, you could use AI to robots and have these robots help with the manufacturing process. You can have use AI to leverage things like supply chain and logistics to find like different areas of mishaps. And so we have to be very careful in how we build, right? Because you want to be able to have the company run more efficiently, but you also don't want to take people out of work. So what we do is use
Mm-hmm.
tech to help build a sustainable moat within the company. So this tech, the AI integration, it allows us to improve. We use it as a tool, not a replacement. So we 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 teach people how to use it, right? How to use the AI, how to use our software, how to use our platform. And then as we are building our different micro factories, we are now bringing in workers that can actually build, that can actually make something go from point A to point B. Now, of course, it's not going to be how it was like at the beginning of the automotive industry or even, 30,
Of
40
course.
years ago. Right. So we have to keep in mind that are we going to have like 100,000 employees? Maybe not. That's also a lot of overhead,
It
but
is. And
yeah,
overhead, it's always expensive.
always expensive. But what we will
Yep.
likely have are like a couple thousand employees that know how to leverage the technology of today with the machinery of tomorrow. And the beauty in all that we're doing is, like you said, we are engineering the future, but that also means that we have the opportunity to create something new that was never once here. So we are going to, with every solution you create, you also create like three more problems. So the beauty in having people who are on board now is that they get to help think critically as to how we can kind of get ahead of our own curve. And so I don't know if that answers, but
Right.
that's kind of how we're using our like human-centered mission to not only leverage like the human to human interaction, but also use tech to bridge the gap where like humans may have some inefficiencies. That's how we're doing it.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Here we go.
Okay.
What emerging technologies or digital marketing trends excite you the most about the future of your industry? Looking forward.
Yes. So one of the biggest things that excites me is so I guess I'll answer this by also using a quote that like I believe in personally and like a huge ethos for the company. And it's by George Bernard Shaw. The quote says, "You see things and ask why, but I dream of things that never were and ask why not." So a huge piece of that, the crux of that is why not?
That's a good
Why
one.
not? Thank you. It's like, why not build
Why
something
not?
new? Why not try something out, And what excites me the most is that is like take the engine away. Yes, we created a brand new way to like have a compact, high performing product. But what I think is more impressive than that, one, yes, we were able to do that, but two, the the literal structural architecture that this will go inside of is a brand new vehicle well, chassis and frame. And that allows for endless opportunities, endless ideas as to how to improve on it even more. We can do things like regenerative braking, we can do things like cooling, a better weight distribution, new ways of designing, new ways of tire design, new ways of suspension design, braking, also new ways of manufacturing as a whole. So it literally allows us to create new industries within our process of revitalizing and restructuring the current industry. And that's why the company is called Exodus, out with the old, into the new, into the promised land of like what can be. And that is what excites me the most. The opportunity to usher in the next generation of what can be. Like the idea of what can be is what is most exciting. And in the meantime,
Fantastic.
thank you, thank you. And in the meantime, we were able to use our digital marketplace as a means to connect people, like literally connect businesses who are struggling or connect businesses who want the opportunity to, come into the future. Like this is the Exodus. We are offering the Exodus. So we use our physical, our tangible, hardware and technology to as a vehicle, no pun intended, into the future. And then we use our digital platform as a way and means to connect SaaS platforms, as a means to connect smaller OEMs and smaller manufacturing into the future of what can be. So that's what I'm most excited about. Just impact, truly.
Very good. Well, Eyan, thank you so much for coming out and spending this time with us, for being our guest. And I hope that, I love to talk to you in the future, see how things are going and, what your next steps to success have been. I look forward to it. Thank you everyone for spending another hour of your time with us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.